Well, hello and welcome back to Midweek Mashup. Today I'm sitting down with Pastor Eric, and we are talking today about why things are so different in the studio.
Yeah.
We traded out our short, fat table for a tall, skinny table.
Yep.
So, no, that's not actually what we're talking about today. But we are making some changes in the studio, and so that's fun. And so you can expect some new things for Church Online. But for this mashup today, the topic for Sunday was Yahweh Ira,
Yes.
and or Yahweh Yaira,
Yaira.
if you're an American.
Or Jehovah Jireh, if you want the Latinized version of it.
Right, which we do, right? We often do. But we're talking about our Names of God series, and this particular name means the Lord is provider.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah, so it comes from a story in the book of Genesis. And I didn't get too deeply into the story because we had a missional equipping gathering, so a shorter teaching time, and I wanted it to be focused on Jesus and his teaching on God as provider, which is totally in line with the way that the Old Testament talks about it as well. But in this story, Abraham is promised by God that he's going to have a son, and that son is going to turn into a family so big that it'd be more than the number of stars in the sky, right? And Abraham's old, his wife is old. That's not possible, right? And so God just tells him to trust me. I'm going to bless you, and you're going to bless the entire world. And Abraham then has multiple episodes in which he doesn't trust God and makes a stupid decision, and usually those decisions harm other people. And last weekend Adrian talked about Hagar and what that meant for her, and this idea that from Genesis 3 on, there's a story after story of God saying, "Trust me, I'm not holding out on you." Humans saying, "Okay, I think I trust you, but I kind of don't, so I think you're holding out on me, so I'm going to take." Instead of receiving from you what you have to offer, I want to take this thing, right? And that's what happens to Hagar. She's not willfully sleeping with Abraham. She is taken. So again, that's one episode. Another episode where Abraham is called to follow in faith, and he does not. And then this episode, he has Isaac is born, the child of the promise is born, and one day God says, "Hey, you're going to take Isaac, up the mountain, and you're going to sacrifice him to show that you trust me," essentially. And this is the first time that Abraham has faith, and I have lots of questions for him. Like, this is the time you decide to follow God in faith, when it includes murdering your son. And I made this statement on Sunday that the God of the Bible is not one for human sacrifice. So this story isn't about like what a monster who would ask them to do this. It's a way of testing Abraham, and a way of seeing, like, do you really trust me? So Abraham does what he's told, except for obviously God stops him from sacrificing Isaac, and then provides for them an acceptable sacrifice in this ram that's caught in the thistle. And seeing how God orchestrated all of this, Abraham's response is Yahweh Yireh, the Lord provides. And then this concept is all throughout the Old Testament. God is taking care of his people, and he provided for them when they were wandering in the desert. He provided for them even when they were in exile. He took care of them. And so then we get to the New Testament, and humans haven't changed.
Surprise.
Yeah, right. Humans have been humans, and we want to trust God. We want to believe that he's going to take care of our needs. We want to believe that he is provider. And yet we struggle to trust God, and we struggle not to get in the mindset of I need to take, and I need to hoard, and I need to take matters into my own hands. And in the process, what always happens in the Bible when people have that take mentality, people get hurt. right? Mm-hmm. And that's the truth of just think about income inequality. The gap between the richest people and what most normal people, not even thinking about people in poverty, but the gap between the richest and what the middle class have, right, comes because some people take and take and take. And that's not just, all rich people are bad. That's not what I'm saying, because you can have that mentality no matter what income bracket you're in. And people ruin themselves financially because they can't live within their means, because they just take and take and take, or they make decisions because they don't have impulse control. They don't trust that God will take care of them. And that's regardless of income status. You can have that mentality. But when that happens, that means people get hurt. If I'm taking, that means somebody else can't receive, right? And that's so much at the heart of what Jesus is teaching about. One, it's about us and our hearts. Do you believe that God is a father who loves to take care of his children, that is going to provide for you? If so, then you'll seek first the kingdom of God, you'll seek his righteousness, and your needs will be taken care of, right? And gives us that mentality of like, God's job is to take care of you. Your job is to seek his kingdom and his righteousness. Do what is right. Care for other people. Live as if the kingdom is here and now, because it is, and live that out. And we also see Jesus' heart throughout the stories of the Gospels. He's very focused on justice. He's very critical of people who hoard wealth for themselves. He's very critical of people who, see other people go hungry and don't do anything about it. And then you have writers like James that say, religion that God our Father accepts as pure and blameless is to take care of widows and orphans in their distress, right? So this is central to the message of Jesus, is that part of righteousness, part of justice is pushing back against that world mentality of take, hoard everything for yourself, and instead be people who seek first his kingdom and his righteousness. And that means investing our, the cliches, our time, treasures, and our talents, investing of ourselves into things that matter more than a new car or a bigger house or whatever else, and I think that's something the church needs to hear, because we live in a time where the kind of baseline quality of life for an American citizen is the best life anyone in history has ever lived, right? The world, we live in a very clean, sanitized world. We live in a world where we have comfort, where most of us don't have to wonder where our next meal is coming from. And we lose perspective because of that. We don't recognize that most of the world, a lot of the world now, and most of the world for all of history, has not had that kind of comfort and safety and life expectancy, et cetera, right? So that's a good reminder for us to say, like, hey, Jesus was on the side of the poor. Jesus was on the side of the marginalized and the oppressed. Are we going to be Jesus' people and do that as well? And that's what it looks like to store up for ourselves treasure in heaven, where thieves can't break in and steal, and moth and rust can't destroy. So,
but thank you so much for sitting down and sharing. And I'm excited to continue through the Names of God series. Thank you so much for joining us again. If you want to watch those videos, go ahead, click those banners. And if you want to continue on through this series, we have some more videos for you right now.